The Bristol Board of Education. Maintaining a safe and secure learning environment for all students.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for braving the weather and thunder showers.
Thank you.
Glad to see you all here. This is our August 7th meeting of the Board of Education. I call our meeting to order, and I would ask you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we'd like to have a moment of silence for one of our former employees, Raymond R. Frenchie Carrier, who was a building paraprofessional at Bristol Eastern from August of 2000 to June of 2017. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is student recognition. I believe our superintendent is going to race over to the podium and do our recognize our students.
Good evening. I have two students from Green Hill School, Sophia Pelaya and Bella Paradise, that I'd like to bring up to the podium. So both of these young ladies, I'm going to have you stand right over there, and I'll get out of the way in a minute. Both of these young ladies participated in the Connecticut Kids Speak competition and also the Kids Speak Day. And it's an opportunity for students to engage and voice their opinions and their passion around a civil right. And I'm going to invite both young women to introduce themselves, the school they represent, their grade level, and the topic that they wrote on. Okay?
Hi, I'm Sophia Pelaya. I'm from Green Hill School. I'm going into 7th grade, and I wrote my topic on mental illness.
Hi, I'm Bella Paradise. I'm also going into 7th grade, and I wrote my topic on the LGBTQ upstander movement.
So both of the students from Green Hills, we also had a student from West Bristol and a student from Chippens Hill, were 4 of the middle school recipients, and were honored because of their writing ability and their passion for their topic. The other 2 young women were not able to join us this evening, and throughout the state there were only 6 students identified at the middle level, and Bristol had 4 of those young thinkers. And their essays are provided for you, and then we're going to take a picture so that you can be in the Twitter world and. Oh, and the press world. Your first photo op. Okay, you're Sophia, you're Bella?
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
Ladies, if you want to turn around, I think someone
Oh yeah,
some
Mr.
rare one.
Harris. Pretty well. Congratulations. Mr. Wilson is going to recognize Taylor Domain.
Last Thursday, I had the opportunity at the invitation of Mary Ridings Ward from the Pequabec River. I always get this name wrong, so I'm going to read it to you. The Pequabec River Watershed Association. And in April of 2018, a young lady from Bristol Eastern came to our operations committee, and she had this idea of creating a rainforest at Bristol Eastern. I suspect most of us didn't really know what that rainforest was going to look like. Rainforest, or rain garden. Thank you. I'll keep looking at you, and you keep telling me what to say, and we're good. So we have the rain garden. And so Thursday's ceremony was a celebration by the Watershed Association to recognize Taylor Domingue. And for those of you who don't know her, she's a pretty remarkable student. She took 10 AP classes since she started her freshman year and successfully passed those. She's headed to UConn in their honors program and hopes to complete the pre-med curriculum and become a doctor one day. But in her spare time while she was in school, in addition to studying, she had this passion to build this garden. As we know, sometimes a lot of people come to us with ideas and it doesn't always come to fruition. But this is one that really came to fruition. She met with Public Works, she met with the city engineering department, she met with us, she met with her teachers and everyone and got this project off the ground. Got her fellow students to help her and got some of those other departments in the city to help her. And now, just as you drive into the parking lot to the right on the bank before the softball field, there's a little curb cut, and if you look down there, there's a wonderful rain garden. And so we're really thankful to her. I said when I spoke about her the other morning that this is really a real role model for the capstone projects that we in our school system are now going to be implementing for students who leave here, that we want them to complete a capstone project. And this is really one where she took the learning from her classes in environmental science and all the rest and implemented an actual project. So we're really proud of her. We hoped she was going to be here tonight, but she wasn't able to make it. But I did accept a plaque on behalf of the watershed, and I think Vice President Higgins would like to say something.
You kind of summed it all up there.
Sorry if I stole your thunder.
Taylor has basically been a 4-year contributor to our building, and this project kind of sums her up. Wanting to find creative solutions to some of our biggest problems that we face, not just locally but globally, in terms of finding efficient ways to clean up the pollution and to do it in a way that also evokes an element of beauty. The garden is gorgeous, as you saw it. When I saw it coming together this winter, I was like, I don't know, it's looking like a hole in the earth, and it evolved and it became more beautiful and more beautiful each and every day, and she kept chipping away at it and inspiring classmates to come out and do this work with her, even the teachers. One day we went outside, and out of nowhere, she found a fossil. They found a fossil footprint, which has been certified as a fossil right on our grounds at Bristol Eastern. So that is in a showcase in our building, along with a similar plaque that we received. So not only is it gorgeous, but some unexpected surprises came out of this. And I'm sure she's probably industrious right now, and that's why she can't be here tonight. But we do wish her well, and it's a great piece of betterment at Bristol Eastern. So thanks.
Mike, it wasn't Mike Giovinazzo's footprint.
You're really similar.
Our next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes. You all received the July 10th minutes and had the opportunity to review them. Are there any corrections to those minutes? If not, I would accept the motion for approval of the minutes.
Second.
Second. Motion is made and properly seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I abstain.
Okay, and abstentions. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, we'll move on to committee reports. I believe we have 3 this evening. We'll start off first with operations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Operations Committee actually met twice since the last Board of Education meeting. The first meeting was on July 15th. where we approved for using the operations committee as the building committee for the roof tile replacement, ceiling tile replacement at Northeast Middle School. When a project is below a certain dollar amount, we don't need to form a building committee per charter, so the operations committee will be taking on that duty. We also had an update from staff on some exciting things going on this summer. Kids might not be in school, but everybody's still working very hard. We're currently in the process of moving to Google. We had a great presentation on that. So both the Board of Education and the City IT Department are working on that move. The Board of Ed signed a new contract for our copiers with Officeworks, and we anticipate a savings of approximately $120,000, which is not small change. We're also working on some safety upgrades, and we're leasing additional Chromebooks to continue to work towards the goal of getting one-to-one on technology for our students. Tonight, we met just prior to this meeting. We discussed the installation of the playground that Mountain View School won. Thank you to everybody who voted and put them over the top. We haven't received the equipment yet, but the Board of Ed has quite a bit of work to do to get the property ready when the equipment comes. Last year, the mayor and the council and the Board of Finance approved money for a playscape at Mountain View, so we'll be using those funds for the excavation and installation. We discussed the installation of photovoltaics, a solar array at Stafford School as part of the roof project. And I'm going to ask to add an item to the agenda in new business. So I will do that right now. Make a motion that we add the Stafford roof project to the agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. And what happens here is this will go to new business, and then we will deal with it in new business. So all we're voting on now is to adding this item to the agenda, which was not on the agenda previously. I think you're ready to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then finally, Rob Puzo had a presentation on our Google migration and student data privacy. We will be addressing student data privacy again in the Student Achievement Committee later this month or next month. I'm not sure when the next meeting is. Student Achievement, later this month?
Later this month.
Later this month. And that's all.
Okay. If not any questions, we can move right on to finance.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I was not at the last finance meeting, so I'm just going to ask Ms. Brown to give a report.
Good evening. Just to update you this month on our forecast, I did rerun our numbers so that I could give you again the most updated information. So as of early this week, we currently are in receipt of $4,487,000 in revenue from rentals, tuition, Medicaid, the Displaced Student Relief Grant, and Special Education Excess Cost Grant funding. As you know, when we develop our budget, we have a placeholder for our anticipated revenue. This year, we anticipated $4.811 million, so we are falling short by $323,000. You may recall that our excess cost grant, that's really where we had over-anticipated because we're, based on our anticipation, over $600,000 short, but we've made that up with Medicaid. Last year, our Medicaid revenue was in the $360,000 mark. This year, it's well over $400,000, so that is some good news. With those revenues, as of this week, we forecast that we're going to close the year with a general fund deficit of approximately $715,000. That's 715. We have kept in very close touch with the comptroller's office. I talk with Diane Waldron just about every day as we're coming to year end. You are aware that we have exceeded our budget in three main areas: regular education, transportation, magnet tuition, and special education. Our special education deficit is close to the $2 million mark. So for us to be able to mitigate that and finish the year with a general fund deficit of $715,000 is due to us freezing the budget during the year and really holding tight to the retirement savings that we kept all year. All of our purchase orders at this point have been closed. What we have yet to do is all of the grant transfers have to come in That'll be done by the end of this week, and we'll begin to put together a presentation for you with our final end-of-year report. We anticipate we'll be ready to share that with you at our finance meeting later this month. As far as appropriations and transfers in the month of June, we had one small transfer for $77, so nothing really to review there. The cafeteria snapshot, unfortunately, at the end of the year, we're running a deficit in the cafeteria of approximately $107,000. That has not changed. That 715 number is a general fund number that does not include the cafeteria deficit, so any cafeteria deficit will increase our general fund overall. Also, regarding the cafeteria administrative review and the recoveries of those monies, we have filed our appeal regarding the cafeteria administrative review that was filed on July 26th. Our impartial hearing officer has 60 days from the date that we filed to get back to us, so we do anticipate hearing from her within the coming weeks, and as soon as we hear from her, we will pass that on to you. That is my report for this evening. If you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain.
Question. Thank you. I do have one quick question about the food services administrative review. Does that include both the lack of reimbursement as well as the potential penalty, or that's just the reimbursement?
The deficit that we are running, the 107, is just for operations of the cafeteria. There is a small portion of that, $21,673, is the 6-cent performance bonus withhold for the months of February, March, April, and May. So if we were to get any of those monies recovered through our appeal, it would come off of that 107.
But that would only be
$21,673 and 32 cents. They are looking to recover an additional $106,428.68. So that's in addition to the 107.
Okay. So I think I got it. 127 would be our total recovery.
Yes. That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
And our final committee is, I didn't forget you, Mr. O'Brien, Personnel.
The Personnel Committee met to begin negotiations with BAPS, which are state mandated, and we met with the central office team and our attorney in order to put our proposals together and look forward to meeting with BAPS in early September. And the final date for arbitration is November 1st. So our whole team will be together for the entire process. And look forward to Jeff's input. We also, by the way, had a second meeting where we approved some new positions for BAPS, only one at this time, but hopefully it would be a model for other changes in terms of creating team leaders in each of the various departments long-term, but initially in physical education. And that was approved as well.
Any questions? I will move on to my report, which was very brief this evening. It's kind of a repeat of last month. The Bristol Education Foundation, which I serve on, as well as Mr. Kelly. He's actually a vice president, I believe, of the Bristol Ed Foundation. But we are holding our signature fundraiser on October 18th. For those of you that want to challenge one another in trivia, it's a great night. It's a great social night. It's a great fun night. It's from 6 to 10. It's $35 a ticket. We've reduced the number on the team this year from 6 to 5. 6 seemed to be a little unwieldy, so we've dropped it down to 5 to see if that works a little better. We also have asked the individual that runs it to bring some assistant with him so that he can get the tallies done a little quicker and we can get through the questions a little bit faster. But we really need your help and support and getting your friends and neighbors and others to buy tickets and come. If you know anybody who wants to sponsor, Any businesses that want to sponsor, please reach out to them. We really, this is our signature event, as I said, and it really funds our mini grant program. In our mini grant programs, we provide anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 of resources to our teachers to provide innovative, creative programs that they would like to add that we can't provide them on the Board of Education. So we hope you really will consider attending that fundraiser event. And the next item on my agenda, I know we haven't met as frequently as we have been meeting in the early spring, but I know Dr. Dita will share with us some of the details of what's going on behind the scenes.
Good evening, Chairman Wilson and Commissioners. The Memorial Boulevard Inter-District Arts Magnet School Building Committee has not met this past month, but the work continues to go forward. So there has been meetings between Oscar and SHPO. We're continuing to work on the entrance. The building committee has reached consensus about a recommendation for that entrance. We made that recommendation to SHPO and Oscar, and the primary considerations that we had were around safety and security of the building. This option also enhances access and equity for all residents of Bristol and beyond. So we're very happy with that development. About 2 weeks ago, all local zoning approvals occurred. So that was one of those hurdles that we need to get over in this process. So that was we're very happy to report that. The school and project was also recently featured in the Connecticut Preservation News. So if you want to check that out, there's some great historic photos in there. And then lastly, I would just want to share that we have a meeting next Thursday evening, 6:30 here at the Board of Ed, and we're continuing to discuss some of the environmental remediation issues that have come up, as well as the scope of the project. So we'll be updating via the committee and any community members that care to participate. Happy to take any questions.
Before we do that, I just want to, I know you hear all these acronyms all the time, but maybe some in our audience may not. And OSCR stands for Office of School Construction and
Grants and Review.
And Review.
Yes.
And then I don't know what SHPO stands for, but it's the society or the
State Historic Preservation Office.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, you got it.
Thank
So
you.
in case you were wondering, sitting in your seat wondering, those are what those acronyms mean. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dieter. We now move on to our consent agenda. Does anybody have any items? Oh, I almost forgot. The superintendent's report. Trying to go too fast.
Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to go through 4 items. One is a review of the district priorities and the work that we are undertaking this school year, and we'll be launching with both our staff, our administrators, and our teachers. Some of this work has already begun, and I'd like to highlight a few of the areas of foci. I also speak about some upcoming dates and remind folks that school is right around the corner. As you know, last year the central office team worked to develop 4 district priorities that were in line with the core values of the Board of Education and the core values of the Board of Education. Those district priorities are organizational effectiveness and improving our organizational effectiveness, ensuring that we inspire and cultivate our talent, increasing our community and parent partnerships, and being hyper-focused on our learners. The way that this has translated, and later on this evening during the consent agenda, you will meet some of our new staff. Some folks who have gone through the Bristol school education and have come back. Some who have began their teaching career and their leadership career and will move on to a different level. and others who are joining us for the first time. And it speaks to the work that Sam and his office is doing to ensure that we're cultivating our staff and finding the best and brightest to work in Bristol. Our focus on the learner is multifaceted, and sometimes we strive for coherence. And the way you reach coherence is that every member within the district is moving in the right direction and has a framework and a set of tools and skills that allow them to reach the aspiration that we have for our learners. And the aspirations in Bristol is that we named the vision of the graduate. We named the skills and dispositions that we want every one of our learners to possess when they leave us. And that's great when it's on a piece of paper, but if you cannot enact it and if you don't have the tools or the language or the processes to get there, then it's just a piece of paper that we say that we provide to our students. We have articulated our North Stars, and this year we will launch 3 North Stars. The 3 North Stars that we will launch and ensure that there is consistency across all of our K-12, pre-K-12 classrooms is that we will develop a positive classroom environment. We will have clear and challenging expectations, and that students will set individual school goals. The reason why we're not launching all 5 of our North Stars is because to gain consistency, to gain integrity in our processes, and to ensure that it shows up in the classroom, you don't overwhelm folks. Surrounding our North Stars, so if you think about a North Star and a classroom teacher, that's what we're going to see in the classroom. Guiding that and how our leaders need to think about climate. They need to think about how they develop feedback for teachers. They need to think about their strategic planning. There's navigational tools that surround that. They're tools that we provide to our leaders that our leaders and the leadership team at each school go through a series of self-assessment and assessment with their staff to say where are they in their current conditions and where will they go. And so we spent a lot of time in June working on climate. One of the navigational tools is climate and culture. So what are the consistent practices you should see in all of our pre-K through 12 schools? Likewise, our folks in OTL have worked diligently over the summer on North Star 2 and 5, which is learning expectations and setting goals. So how does this make sense? Well, we said that we were lifting some district priorities around organizational effectiveness, being learner focused, ensuring we have the best and brightest. And surrounding the school is the district. And our district priorities show up, and it is the way the central office team needs to enact and act at all times. If we said that there are these 4 priorities of the district, and one of them is to be learner focused, and one of them is to ensure that we engage with our community, then we have to think in this cycle of continuous improvement. Where are we currently and where are we going? Who's the team? Is it a classroom team? Is it a school level team? Is it the district team? And so there are actions that surround all of this. A, we will create high performing teams throughout our district. And B, we will be in a constant pursuit for continuous improvement. Lastly, the core values of the board. There are 5. One is the foundation is trust. It doesn't show up there because it's in everything that we do. But the other 4 around accountability, achievement, equity, and innovation show up, and they are the compass rose. So this is the guiding framework that will speak to everything we do. It will ground the work, and it will create the consistency across the district so that all of our students, families, staff, central office, Board of Ed, you can see what we're doing because each one of these elements will show up throughout the next 1 to 3 years. An example of this, developing our community, ensuring that we have strong community relations, ensuring that we have better partnerships and that our partners feel welcome. During the next 2 weeks, ESPN will be beautifying all of our play areas in our elementary schools. And so Don Brooks and the ESPN volunteers, we thank them ahead of time. You see a Century Path in Ivy Drive and examples of how they will make all of our schools feel refreshed for the first day of school. And then their work continuing into the second year, the Shred Hate program and anti-bullying campaign that they're working on with our folks over at Northeast Middle School that complements our climate work. So we thank them. We need to do more outreach with our local and our corporate sponsors to ensure that we are utilizing every asset and resource in Bristol and beyond. And this is a prime example of how ESPN has helped us. And then lastly, our ever present pursuit in ensuring that we are as efficient and fiscally responsible with our resources. And one of the partnerships that we've developed with the city is that we are going Google. And that between the public school system and the city will realize some efficiencies and effectiveness across both of our platforms. And we're really excited, and the partnership has been extremely strong and collaborative, and we're proud of that. Lastly, some dates that right around the corner. Our administrator welcome back is on August 19th. Our new teachers and our new staff will begin their new teacher academy starting on August 20th. And convocation, or our new year, teachers and administrators have the luxury of 2 new years. The kickoff to school and then January 1. Our convocation is Tuesday, August 27th, and then more exciting for all of us is the first day when students come back, and that is September 3rd. Thank you.
Now we'll move to consent agenda. Does anybody have any items they'd like to hold out?
Please, Mr. Chair, I'm going to ask that we hold out 71A and 71B.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? So you're going to be approving the consent agenda absent of 71A and 71B. All in favor? Or do I have a motion, I guess, to approve? But I'll move it for you. Move it? Do you have a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Do you want to speak to that now?
I'm going to hand it over to... Okay. Hand it over to the superintendent.
I am thrilled and excited to introduce three of our new hires. I will invite each one of our new, upon your approval, employees. So the first person I'd like to invite up is Kimberly Culkin, who will serve as the capacity of Special Ed Director.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Chairman Wilson and Commissioners. I thank you for putting your trust in me as the Director of Special Services for Bristol Public Schools. I know that I have big shoes to fill, but I'm super excited to be started and to get to know our students and staff and families, community, and certainly each of you as part of the leadership team for Bristol. And I thank you for the opportunity and look forward to our work together. And looking forward to getting started. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us.
She has a special seat, so the Twitter. Additionally, joining our administrative team is, and I'd like to invite Mrs. LaTanya Farrell. As you know, Mrs. Farrell was a teacher within the Bristol Public Schools, and I'd invite Ms. LaTanya to speak.
My shoes started talking for me. Good evening. I just am so very, very thrilled to begin the next part of my journey here in Bristol, at Bristol Eastern as the AP. Been in Bristol 24 years. I started teaching with Mr. Caggiano's mom years ago at Stafford, worked at Chippins for some time, over at Bristol Central, working with the AVID program, and just so very thrilled to continue the work. Thank you for having me, and go Lancers.
Where am I going? Right there.
Not when it's voted on, just when it's treated.
Just hold the button for a second.
And lastly, I would like to invite up Robert Wilson, who will join us as the next Director of Security. And some of you may know Robert. You grew up in Bristol, so.
Good evening. Yes, I was born and raised here in Bristol. After that, I went to Southern Connecticut State University, where I met Sam. Shortly after that, I went to the academy, became a police officer in Southington. I did 26 and a half years there and held numerous positions there, and recently retired about 4 years ago. I'm so excited to come here back to Bristol and work. I really am. So I can't wait to get started. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're glad to have you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now the board needs to vote on 7A and 7B. So the motion is made and seconded. Any questions? Since not, are you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Yes.
And those opposed? Those in favor, let's do that again. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimously approved. Welcome all. We now come to public comment. Do we have anybody who would wish to speak under public comment? Anybody that didn't sign up and didn't know that you needed to sign up would like to speak under public comment? If not, we're moving on. All right, we move to deliberated items. And who was going to the team program?
I'm in the team program.
Is that you?
It is not, it is Carly, but I.
Okay. 9.1 is the team mentor, cooperating teacher application. Applicants?
Yep, and I'm going to do it from here.
Okay.
Consistent with the specifications and supports provided to our new aspiring teachers in their first and second year, the State Department of Education has modeled a program called TEAM. It helps teachers during their transition from student teaching into the teaching profession. Participants who serve as team mentors, so the lead teacher for each of the novice teachers, need to be approved by a committee within the Bristol Public Schools, serve successfully as a teacher and exceptionally as a teacher, and then participate in a 3-day training program. Every year, every 3 years, their training needs to be updated, and we have 2 new teachers who will fill the role as the cooperating teacher, Jenny Jones, special education teacher at Chippens Hill Middle School, and Kelly Bouchard, a grade 4 teacher at public school. Say again? Yes, we need approval for that.
Do you want to make a motion to approve those 2?
Move to approve Jenny Jones and Kelly Bouchard as new team mentors, cooperating teachers.
Second? Second. Rip, you get it in your name in the minutes. Okay. That's important. Anybody have any other questions or comments?
Just a quick question. I don't recall this. This is a program that we've done in the past. The financial obligation for this is for the training.
Teachers who serve as mentors are compensated. So this used to be the best program back at another time. It changed to team 6 to 8 years ago. And this is just the newest version of an induction program to ensure that we have supports for our
our new staff.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, think you're ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we go to new business. We put an item on new business, which was the photovoltaics at Stafford Avenue, and I think we have a motion to that effect.
I'd like to move that we approve the addition of the photovoltaics as part of the Stafford School roof project, and that will be contingent on the successful completion of the design schematics and the life cycle analysis.
I'll second that.
Just a clarification, the life cycle analysis is kind of like what I'd say, a cost-benefit analysis to make sure that the payback is a reasonable amount of time for the extra expense for putting on the solars. So that is a little clearer for people. Does anybody have any questions on this motion?
I would just like to comment.
Okay, please do.
Because I'm so excited because I'm trying to get solar.
How long have you been on the Energy Task Force?
8 years.
Okay.
I've gone blonde to cover the gray in the time it's taken me to get here. It's the perfect timing to do it. We're putting on a roof with a 30-year warranty. The life cycle of photovoltaics is 25-ish years. So the time to do it is when you're putting on a new roof. The state of Connecticut has recently begun reimbursing for photovoltaic arrays on school roofs. In fact, they're strongly encouraging districts who are engaging in roof projects to consider adding photovoltaics. So this is a really exciting opportunity for Bristol at a minimal cost. And we'll have better information from our engineers on the actual cost benefit soon. But we've seen other cost benefit analyses on other schools that were generally very positive with a really good return on investment. So I anticipate the same for Stafford.
I think you're ready to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We move right on to information. I'll start on my left. Any information on my left?
I have no information. That was my information.
Nothing? Good. We'll move right on from that side. Liaison reports. Any news from City Council?
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. Any other liaison reports? Any other liaison reports?
Not tonight.
No liaison reports. That's a good message. Not tonight. Okay. We will move to adjournment.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye. We adjourn.